Alright, so hear me out. I love to travel. However, I wouldn't necessarily call myself the most adventurous traveler in the world. Well, I guess not anymore. You see, ever since I got wildly sick on a trip I took to Peru with my older brother, something about South America has always made me a little nervous. Maybe it's the mosquitoes, the fear of malaria, or death by bow and arrow from an uncontacted tribe. Anyways, that leads me to Swain. Not only is he an airline pilot who literally travels for a living, but he's also been to about every place you can imagine. He even took a solo trip around the world when he was just 21 years old. So earlier this year, Swain asked if I wanted to go with him on a trip to Brazil, and I'll be honest, I said sure. I was thinking, okay, Rio, Sao Paulo, the Olympics, I can do this. Nice cities, pretty beaches, it sounded right up my alley. But I quickly found out that Swain's plans for Brazil were a little bit different than what I had imagined. You see, Swain had booked us a trip to the Amazon. No, not the Jeff Bezos Amazon, the actual frickin' Amazon. In the middle of the jungle, in the middle of nowhere. In fact, the place we were headed is so remote, you actually have to take a 2-hour boat ride up the Amazon River to even get to where we would be staying, not to mention no cell service, Wi-Fi, air conditioner, or electricity, except for a few hours a day, which I promise I'll get to later. But with all that being said, I decided, what the heck. This trip may be incredibly outside of my comfort zone, but I couldn't deny the fact that it really was an amazing opportunity. So I packed my bags and headed to the airport where I met up with Swain to officially begin our adventure of a lifetime. What's up, everyone? You might be wondering what I'm doing on a rooftop pool right now. I get it, this doesn't exactly look like the middle of the Amazon jungle. But as you can imagine, the Amazons are pretty remote, and so you can't actually fly directly there. So Swain and I right now are on a short layover in the city of Rio de Janeiro, which I'll admit, it's pretty nice to at least spend one day in bouginess before we get on with the rest of our voyage. We actually have a super early flight tomorrow to continue our journey. We're flying to the city of Manaus, then taking another flight to the small city of Tefe, which I think is the farthest you can go into the Amazons by commercial air before you have to resort to boat. So anyways, we're gonna spend the next few hours here soaking up the pools, drinking a few beverages before getting on with the rest of our journey, which we can't wait for. So when you have 24 hours in Rio, you gotta make the most of it. We decided to spend our time walking the streets, exploring the iconic Christ the Redeemer in Sugarloaf Mountain, and actually did a spontaneous hang gliding flight, which was absolutely wild. When the next morning rolled around, we repacked our bags and made our way back to the airport to continue our journey to the Amazon. As we were flying, it really hit me just how massive of a country Brazil is. In fact, if you superimpose Brazil over a map of the United States, it does a pretty good job of putting things into perspective. I mean, we were literally flying 3.5 hours from the coast just to get to the center of the country, and once there, we would still have another flight and several more hours of travel ahead of us. We just landed here in the city of Manaus. Quick stop, and then we're headed to our penultimate destination, the city of Tefe. I've always wanted to use that word, rather fitting. But anyways, guys, Swain's actually been studying up on this city. He's read several books. So Swain, hit us with your favorite fun fact about Manaus.
Okay, so Manaus, long story short, gateway to the Amazon, right? Late 1800s, it was a rubber boom town, producing rubber for the entire world. It is still the gateway to the Amazon today. About 2 million people live here, and it's basically an island of a city. There's no roads in or out of Manaus, even with its size, so still a gateway city.
Well, guys, there you have it. We enjoyed spending a few hours walking around this fascinating city, but we're definitely eager to continue our journey. From one airport to another, in flight after flight, we finally landed in Tefe, the closest we could get to our Amazon destination by airplane. After navigating through the terminal and using Google Translate to help communicate in Portuguese, we eventually found our pickup and started the final leg of our adventure deep into the Amazon. Welcome to the city of Tefe. Right behind me is the boat we're going to be taking deep into the heart of the Amazons. You can't fly there, you can't drive there, so we actually have to hop on one of these for about an hour and a half. There's several guys who are going to be taking us the whole way there, and most importantly, making sure we don't fall off and get eaten by piranhas. Also, as a side note, it's pretty funny having two Americans with our nice travel luggage trying to get on a boat going to the Amazons. Yeah, so after making my way across that very small narrow log, I walked over to the boat that had just pulled in to pick us up. After following Swain on board and getting all situated, the motor started up and I took my last glance at somewhat of a modern civilization for what would seem like a very long time. Once Swain and I were all strapped in and ready to go, we gave each other one final thumbs up and yeah, I guess here we go. I'll be honest, speeding across the Amazon River by boat is a pretty cool feeling, and I think Swain would agree because he was smiling just about the entire time. As we made our way deeper into the rainforest, we passed quite a few local fishermen and villagers who I hope weren't too annoyed by the wake we were creating, but I'm sure at this point they were pretty used to it. The route we were taking had us going by quite a few interesting locations, and I loved that in every seat pocket, the guides left a map that explained everything we would be seeing. My favorite was definitely the massive Samauma tree, which is the largest species in the Amazon, known to grow to heights as tall as 40 meters or 120 feet, while also reaching ages of over 5,000 years old. As we continued on, we passed several local communities, many who have been here for generations living off this very land. In fact, the entire area we were entering was established as a reservation, land set aside by the Brazilian government, which is said to protect both the communities and the resources that have been endangered for decades by increased logging, deforestation, and commerce. Now, this really has been more of a band-aid than a fix, and still to this day, the Amazon continues to be destroyed at record rates. Throughout this trip, I learned more and more about this issue and the efforts being made to combat it, and if you guys have some time, please consider heading down to the link below to find out how you can help support the cause to save the Amazon. Now, during this time of year, the water level in the jungle is quite low, which allowed us to see the base of the trees along the riverbank. What's pretty fascinating is that during the rainy season, which runs from March through July, the water level can rise upwards of 15 meters or 45 feet, completely transforming the Amazon and leaving boats to navigate through the treetops. Now, as we crossed the hour-and-a-half point on our journey, we turned onto the final stretch of river and I could start to make out our destination off in the distance. It was kind of sentimental, I'm not gonna lie, just knowing how long we had traveled to get here and how few people had ever been where we were. But it was also incredibly exciting, because our Amazon adventure really was just getting started. Well, everyone, we finally made it to our destination. Welcome to the Uakari Floating Lodge, one of only a handful of completely immersive experiences here in the Amazon rainforest. Now, the lodge is run by local guides and biologists who give tourists like us probably the closest thing there is to being considered a local. But I'll tell you what, we're gonna finish getting settled in and then I'll give you all the grand tour of both the lodge here and everything we're supposed to experience in the next few days. So where do I begin? The Uakari Lodge is definitely remote. In fact, it's practically impossible to find on a map unless you have the exact coordinates, which even then, good luck. Now, the lodge sits in the heart of the Mamirawa Reserve, which is one of the most vital protected tropical forests in the world, home to thousands and thousands of species. In fact, if you're wondering where the name Uakari comes from, let me introduce you to this thing right here. Yep, that's the bald-headed white Uakari monkey. So exotic that its species can only be found right here in this specific region of the Amazon. But the Uakari monkey isn't the only intimidating creature in these parts, and I quickly noticed that there were dozens of caimans all around the lodge. These are local species of crocodile, and with those in the water, plus the piranhas, the guides made it very well known that swimming is strictly prohibited. The lodge itself is part of a community-based ecotourism program, meaning it's entirely self-sustainable and is intended to bring visitors in to support conservation efforts and observe local wildlife. It's run by members of the local communities that we passed on the boat ride here, which to me is so cool that they opened up their home to tourists like us interested in learning more about their way of life. Now, the lodge consists of 5 floating bungalows, a main dining area, and a couple of research facilities occupied by local biologists. It's powered entirely by solar panels, which means, yep, there's only a few hours of electricity a day, and when it's gone, it's gone. The rooms themselves are actually really nice, complete with 2 twin beds, plenty of windows, and a deck with a scenic view of the Amazon. Now, mosquitoes are definitely a thing around here, so in addition to the anti-malaria medication both Swain and I were prescribed before leaving the US, we would both be sleeping in mosquito nets to help fend off any of those unwanted visitors. One thing I found pretty fascinating is that the entire lodge sits on a handful of floating logs, which is required due to the rising water level during the rainy season. I will say, I was pleasantly surprised at just how stable it was, and when you're walking around, you really can't even tell that it's floating. Now, as far as what we would be doing each day, well, the guides had plenty of excursions and activities for us to participate in throughout the surrounding area. There was definitely a lot to see, and from doing a quick glance at the whiteboard that had the entire schedule laid out, I knew that the next 72 hours were going to be quite busy. We just checked into our room here, and yeah, it's pretty nice. For being out here in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, this is awesome. But I wanted to take a second to show you guys some of the stuff we had to bring. There was a long packing list, and yeah, check it out. All right, so first things first, we got long shirts and long pants. Both of these were a requirement because, yeah, you guessed it, there are a lot of bugs in the Amazons. So hopefully these will do a good job of keeping us protected. I also have a rain jacket, of course, some long socks. Also brought some waterproof shoes. Swain brought some boots as well. And then over here, I brought a couple of hats. This one's a little bit extra. It's actually a mosquito hat. So yeah, better safe than sorry, huh? Water bottle right here. You can't drink any of the water, of course. And so we were able to fill this up at the beginning of the day with some filtered water that we'll hope lasts the way. And then last but not least, got some binoculars here, guys. So Swain actually brought these, and I'm excited because they'll let us see some of the wildlife. So there you have it. That is what is supposed to, you know, do the job for us these next 3 days. And yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Now we do still have a little bit of unpacking to do to get situated here in this room, and then I think they're making lunch for us, which is gonna be awesome. So we're gonna finish that up, and then we'll check back in here in a little bit. After I finished tidying up the room and putting away all of my clothes, I made my way back to the main area of the lodge where the rest of the guests were beginning to gather for lunch. On the menu for today was an awesome buffet of rice and beans, lentils, squash, chicken, and this incredible oven-baked fish that was caught in the Amazon earlier that day. Swain and I found our table and enjoyed our little feast while also getting to chat with the other guests who were visiting from locations all around the world. As we were finishing up, the guides announced that our first excursion would be beginning shortly, and so we got up and made our way out to the main dock, where we would soon be headed deep into the Amazon forest. Alright guys, welcome to the Jungle Walk. My very first experience getting to literally walk in the Amazon rainforest. We've got the guides up ahead kind of clearing the path, but so far this is absolutely incredible to see the species. There's like monkeys climbing around, the tallest trees I've ever seen. And it's just wild considering that most of this land, this ground that we're walking on, has been completely untouched for generations. Not too many places in the world that you can still say that. All right, Swain, tell us what you're looking at right now.
There is a howler monkey that's scratching its butt up there, and it hasn't moved in a while, but It's just alone, but it's really, really far up there.
Those howler monkeys make some crazy noises, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty scary, honestly, walking around. Like, it's eerie almost, hearing them.
If you've ever wondered what the Amazon rainforest feels like, well, imagine 100% humidity with probably the most damp, wet ground you've ever walked on, and more insects than you can possibly imagine trying to bite you at all times. Yeah, that's about it. All right, now that we are back at the lodge here, we have a little bit of time to wash up and get ready for dinner, and then the staff is putting on some presentations for us to teach all the guests a little bit more about the history and the culture of the Amazon. After that, it's time for bed. I know Swain and I are both really looking forward to that because we are absolutely exhausted.
That I worked since March this year, called Citizen Science for the Amazon. It's a work that we do together with Mamirawa, WCS, and government.
End of a super long day here. It was exciting, but we are so beat and so tired. The mosquito net is down. I'm ready for bed. Should be an awesome day tomorrow though, so I'll check in soon. Well, welcome to day 2. Swain and I got our morning started with an incredible breakfast of coffee, fruit, and this amazing tapioca crepe that is a local favorite here in Brazil. Our first activity for the day was a visit to one of the local communities here in the Mamirawa Reserve. Now this one in particular was about 20 minutes away by boat, but when we arrived it probably took double that time to actually navigate our way through the riverbank up to where the villagers lived. Not only is this community home to many of the guides that help run the Uakari Lodge, but it's also full of some of the kindest individuals I've ever met, who were all eager to teach us more about their way of life. We checked out the community school where kids gather throughout the week, the community church, and even had the chance to stop by the local craft store where handmade items were on display and available for us to purchase.
All right, Swain, what did you get?
Well, we've been seeing the pirarucu fish jumping out of the water. It's one of the largest freshwater fish in the world. I don't know what kind of plant this was from, but we just saw it over there. These guys make awesome crafts. This was pretty cool.
To an outsider, it may not seem like much, but it really was a humbling experience seeing how close this community is with one another and how well they respect the land they live off of.
Look at that.
Once we made it back to the lodge, we had a few hours to relax, read a book, or in my case, take a nice little soneca on our patio hammock. After that, it was time to head out again on an evening canoe ride. This was definitely one of our favorite parts of the experience, just getting to enjoy the beauty of the Amazon and soak in the sights and sounds of the incredible wildlife. On our way back, the rain began to fall, and we were treated with a stunning rainbow straight out of a fairy tale. Just like that, day 2 was complete, leaving us with one final opportunity to experience everything the Amazon has to offer. Good afternoon, everyone, from deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. Yeah, we're doing a little nature hike right now, but I'll tell you what, the bugs are alive, so I decided to wear my special hat. As you can see, it offers some pretty great protection. So, may look a little weird, but I'm glad I bought this thing. Anyways, today is our final day here at the lodge, so I'm very excited to spend the day just checking out all the wildlife and really soaking up final few hours here that we have in this honestly incredible place. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot to introduce you guys to our guide, Marco, who's been living here his entire life and is incredible at spotting all the wildlife. So thanks, Marco. Here. As Marco led us through the forest, he did an amazing job of pointing out all the different wildlife. I was really amazed at how talented he was at spotting everything so high up in the trees, but I guess when you live here your whole life, it must come pretty natural.
Sloth. The sloth.
Now, the hike we were on was just over 7 kilometers long, or 4.5 miles, so by the time we reached the 2-hour mark, all of us were exhausted. But when Marco pointed out something high up in the trees, it gave us that extra final push to keep on trekking. Guys, we just saw the Uakari monkey. Crazy. It was definitely hot and humid, and by this point I had more bug bites than you could possibly imagine, so when we did finally make it to the end, I was feeling rather accomplished.
We made it.
Okay, so one of the coolest parts about the Uakari Lodge is that there are other guests from all across the world, and we've made pretty good friends with them, so I wanted to introduce you guys to a few of our friends. So here you go. This is Alo.
Hi, Alo.
Alo, where are you from?
Olá, Brazil.
She's from Brazil, Sao Paulo. Okay, and this is Matilda. Matilda, where are you from?
Italy.
She's from Italy, but she honestly speaks better English than I do, so I don't understand. And this guy right here, man. What's up, Andrea? He also, tell me he doesn't look, he literally looks like Luigi right now. Look at that mustache.
Yeah.
What's up? So what has been y'all's favorite part so far about the lodge?
Hello.
Yeah, she's been our favorite part. Yeah, they've been great.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's been awesome to hang out with them, and we're sad that the time is running low, but hopefully we can stay in contact. Okay, so we've got one final activity planned here for our time at the Uakari Lodge, and it's going to be a sunset boat ride out on a local lake. I'm very excited. I've been looking at the sky, hoping the clouds stay away, but I can't wait to bring you guys with us to close out our incredible trip here at the Amazon. As we made our way out across the Amazon River, it really was special to be able to share these final few hours with our new group of friends who had become family over these last few days. The weather was crisp and cool, and we were all just so excited to spend one final ride together. Now, Lake Mamirawa holds a special significance to the locals here in the Amazon because it's the birthplace of hundreds and hundreds of species. Before the creation of the reserve, there were people that came here illegally to extract and exploit the natural resources this lake provides. So to help combat that, there is now a guard system created where local community members are stationed right here in this building for 15-day shifts to be on the lookout for anyone here illegally. Currently on our way to Lake Mamirawa. We've got a full house behind us. Weather is looking good, fingers crossed. Hopefully it's a good sunset. Now, as soon as I said that, the rain did start to fall off and on. Luckily, we had all remembered our rain jackets, and so we pressed on deeper upriver to get to our final spot. Now, we were able to make a few stops along the way, and we even saw some wildlife I had no idea existed. We made a quick stop here because we saw some pink river dolphins. These things are crazy looking and very hard to find. As the sun moved lower and lower in the sky, we finally made it to the edge of Lake Mamirawa, meaning at this point, all there was left to do was sit and wait. So we made it here to the lake. Right now, just waiting on sunset. Clouds are rolling in. Don't know, but again, we're hopeful. As the time passed and dusk grew closer and closer, we weren't sure what we were going to see. But then, with just a few minutes to spare, the sky opened up and revealed something I will never, ever forget. All right, guys, this is incredible. Check out this view. Well, as my time here in the Amazon is quickly coming to an end, I just wanted to say how incredible of an experience this has been. You know, I came into this not really knowing what to expect, but I've been blown away from the people, the culture, the wildlife, and just how amazing it is to be so disconnected from really modern day society. Now, as I'm sure most of you all know, the Amazon is one of the most important ecological systems for the survivability of our planet. And so if you all are interested in helping support either the research or sustainability projects that are conducted right here at places like the Uakari Lodge, well, I left a link in the description where you can go to find out more. In the meantime, thanks so much for tuning into this one. Wish you guys all the best, and I'll catch you next time.